Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison LaGrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. In our top stories, US President Joe Biden welcomed President-elect Donald Trump at the White House yesterday. Biden congratulated Trump for his presidential election victory. They held talks for nearly 2 hours. The upcoming and the outgoing presidents discussed smooth transition of power. Donald Trump has nominated former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard to serve as America's next Director of National Intelligence. He has also named the former lawmaker Matt Gaetz to be the next U.S. Attorney General. U.S. President Joe Biden and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping are set to meet on Saturday in Lima. Both the leaders will be in Peru to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. The leaders are expected to discuss various issues, including tensions between Washington and Beijing. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has vowed to bolster support to Ukraine in the few months before Donald Trump's return as president. He said this after meeting his Ukrainian counterpart, Andriy Sybiha, in Brussels yesterday. Blinken said that he wanted to ensure that Ukraine had enough funds to defend itself against the ongoing Russian invasion. And the newly appointed Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has reiterated the country's demand for safe return of its citizens. He added that Israel wouldn't agree to any ceasefire until Lebanon-based Hezbollah is disarmed and withdraws from Lebanon's Litani River. Katz recently became the defense minister following Yoav Gallant's dismissal. And the Israeli Defense Forces have launched fresh strikes in the suburbs of the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Israeli military hit the Hezbollah-controlled southern suburbs of Beirut yesterday. An airstrike also killed at least 6 people in Aramoun village. At least 6 Israeli ground troops were killed during combat with Hezbollah men in southern Lebanon. This has raised the number of slain Israeli troops in Lebanon to 47. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed grief over the deaths of the soldiers. Meanwhile, Hezbollah claimed that it fired ballistic missiles at the Israeli army's headquarters in Tel Aviv. And Iran has announced plans to establish specialized mental health clinics. These clinics will reportedly aim to enforce hijab compliance among women who defy the country's strict dress code. The facilities, named as Clinic for Quitting Hijab Removal, will reportedly provide psychiatric treatment for women who refuse to wear the hijab. Voting for snap parliamentary elections took place in Sri Lanka. Over 8,800 candidates are in the fray for 225 parliamentary constituencies. The newly elected president, Nurakumara Dissanyanke's party, is eyeing a majority in the parliament. Now, he has promised key economic reforms after the country's financial meltdown 2 years ago. And Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Mohammad Asif was heckled and threatened with a knife attack by a miscreant in London. The incident's video, reportedly recorded on the 12th of November, has gone viral in social media, and reports indicate that the incident occurred near Heathrow Airport. And pro-Palestinian protesters rallied in downtown Amsterdam on the 13th of November, defying a protest ban. The ban was imposed following violence in the region. Violence broke out last week after clashes between Israeli football fans and the locals. Since then, protesters have been rallying on the streets. The Dutch police have detained hundreds of demonstrators. And in Italy, President Sergio Mattarella told Tesla CEO Elon Musk not to interfere in the country's internal affairs. This comes after Elon Musk called for the removal of Italian judges following a judgment on irregular immigration. President Mattarella urged Musk to respect Italy's sovereignty and to refrain from issuing instructions. Meanwhile, farmers in Brussels protested against a proposed trade deal between the European Union and five-member group of Latin America countries called Mercosur. The deal is likely to be concluded next month. Farmers protest a free trade agreement, fearing the arrival of low-cost products in the European markets. And in Brazil, twin explosions were reported outside the country's Supreme Court in Brasilia. One person was confirmed dead in the blasts, while the staff and judges of the Supreme Court were evacuated. The attack came ahead of the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has proposed a face-to-face meeting with Donald Trump. The meet is to seek common ground on climate issues at the UN's COP29 summit in Azerbaijan. She believes that Trump's prior success with rapid vaccine development could translate into swift climate action. And a major brush fire erupted in Manhattan's Inwood Hill Park. Aerial footage shows the fire and the smoke emitting from it. Cause of the blaze remains unknown, and this incident follows another significant fire at Jennings Creek, which has burned 5,000 acres of land. And in other climate news, severe flooding hit the Spanish city of Magala as the Guadalmedina River swelled with murky water. The storm comes just weeks after the deadly floods in Spain that killed over 200 people and caused extensive damage. Colombian President Gustavo Petro said that the country would need over $300 million in immediate aid to address its severe flooding crisis. The floods and landslides followed torrential rains in the northwestern Colombia. The extreme weather reportedly displaced more than 90,000 people. And heavy rain struck Italy's southern region of Sicily. It resulted in cars being swept into the sea and damaging homes. Firefighters conducted over 70 operations in response to flooding road closures. And the Indian capital of New Delhi was engulfed in a blanket of smog for a second consecutive day. The air quality index at various monitoring stations was recorded at 430. The air quality remains in the severe category, with residents struggling to breathe. Smog affected the visibility, delaying nearly 200 flights. And on to business and tech news now. Bitcoin has continued its record-breaking rally since the US election. Trump-led enthusiasm has pushed the cryptocurrency's value to a record high of $93,400. Since the 5th of November, Bitcoin has more than doubled in value, and investors hope the President-elect Donald Trump will ease crypto regulations in the US. Meanwhile, other cryptocurrencies have also surged after the US election. Meme-inspired cryptocurrency Dogecoin is one of them. Yesterday, its value surged about 10% to over $0.42. This came after Donald Trump announced a new unit called the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Elon Musk is nominated to lead the unit. And FBI agents reportedly raided the home of Shane Copeland, the CEO of betting platform Polymarket. During the raid in New York, Copeland's phone and other electronic devices were seized. Polymarket saw massive bets on Donald Trump's victory during the US election. And US regulators have asked banks to strengthen efforts to prevent money laundering activities. The warning came during a gathering of bankers and regulators in New York. Officials from the US Treasury Department urged bankers to block criminals from using banks for financial crimes. Card payments giant Visa is being probed by the European Commission. Visa is under investigation for the fees paid by retailers. Now, the card payments giant says that it was informed about the probe in August, and Visa said it is cooperating with European authorities. And American oil giant ExxonMobil has announced plans to lay off about 400 workers by 2026. These workers are from Pioneer Natural Resources, which Exxon has acquired earlier this year. The job cuts represent almost 20% of Pioneer's total staff before the merger. Meanwhile, plane maker Boeing has begun laying off staff as part of its 10% workforce reduction. The move was announced last month amid a strike by the company's factory workers. Boeing will reduce its headcount by approximately 17,000. The layoffs will impact executives, managers, and other employees across the company. And American chipmaker AMD has announced plans to lay off 4% of its workforce. The job cuts would affect about 1,000 employees. AMD said the move aims to align its resources for further growth. The firm has been investing in its advanced chip unit, which helps power artificial intelligence. An Irish media regulator has tightened scrutiny around social media platforms like X, TikTok, and Instagram. These platforms have been ordered to take steps to prevent terror content. The move followed an investigation by the regulator. It found that X, TikTok, and Instagram were exposed to terrorist content. And the British consumer group plans to launch a case against iPhone maker Apple. The group, called A Witch, accused Apple of breaching competition law with its iCloud service. It claims that Apple forces iPhone users to sign up for iCloud while blocking other cloud storage providers. Which says Apple may be forced to pay over $3.8 billion in fines. And moving on to sports news, and we start with cricket. India beat South Africa by 11 runs in the third T20 international of the 4-match series. South Africa won the toss and chose to bowl first. Indian batter Tilak Varma scored a century as the tourist posted 219 runs. Chasing the 220-run target, South Africa could score just 208 runs in 20 overs. And South Africa's Marco Jansen set the record for the fastest T20 International 50 against India. The 24-year-old scored a half-century in just 16 balls in yesterday's match. Playing at number 7, the all-rounder unleashed a furious attack on the Indian bowlers. The historic 50 was also Jansen's first half-century in the T20 international format. And in football, England will face Greece in a Nations League match later today, and the match will take place in the Athens National Stadium. For England, winning today's game is crucial for their promotion to the top division of the European Football League. The Greeks remain on top of their group standings at the Nations League so far. Meanwhile, reports say that 4 Premier League clubs will seek compensation if Manchester City are found guilty of financial wrongdoings. These clubs are Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Tottenham. Manchester City are accused of over 110 financial breaches between 2009 and 2018. City have denied these accusations. And France will play against Israel later today amid fears of pro-Palestine violence. Extensive security measures remain in place in Paris after last week's attacks on Israeli fans in Amsterdam. Pro-Palestine groups have urged France to cancel the Israel match due to the war in Gaza. The groups argue that similar measures were taken against Russia due to the war in Ukraine. And in tennis, world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz registered his first win in the ATP finals yesterday. Alcaraz defeated 8th-ranked Andrei Rublev 6-3, 7-6. The win has put Alcaraz back in contention for a semi-final spot at the season-ending event. Meanwhile, world number 2 Alexander Zverev registered his second win at the ATP finals. The German tennis star beat Norway's Casper Ruud 7-6, 6-3. Zverev will next face Carlos Alcaraz in the ATP finals match tomorrow. Indo-Australian doubles pair Rohan Bopanna and Matthew Ebden faced their second straight defeat in the ATP finals. The duo went down 5-7, 6-3 to the top-seeded pair of Marcelo Arevalo and Medvedev. Bopanna and Ebden remain at the bottom of their group in the ATP finals. And in badminton, Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen faced defeat in the first round of the Japan Masters. The world number 17 went down to world number 31, Leong Junhao, 22-20, 17-21, 16-21. That match lasted 75 minutes. And the Formula One governing body FIA has introduced new rules to cool down the drivers in extreme heat. Starting next season, the F1 drivers must have a driver cooling kit during a race. The drivers will be mandated to use the kit when a heat hazard is declared. The new rule comes in response to extreme heat-related incidents in Qatar Grand Prix last year. And in entertainment news, British band Coldplay have announced their biggest ever concert in India. The show is being organized in the city of Ahmedabad on the 25th of January next year. The sale for tickets will go live on the 16th of November, and this will be a part of their Music of the Spheres World Tour 2025. And South Korean singer Lisa teased an upcoming project on social media. The Blackpink band singer is seen wearing a black jumpsuit with a guitar. Lisa's solo song Rockstar's instrumental version was also being played in the background of the teaser. Building the hype, she shared a countdown which ends on the 20th of November. And English singer Sam Fender has announced his new album titled People Watching. Revealing details about the album's title track, he said, and I quote, "It is about somebody that was like a surrogate mother to me and passed away last November." Fender said the woman gave him courage to go on stage. And singer Lady Gaga will be joining the second season of Netflix's Wednesday, starring Jenna Ortega in the lead role. Lady Gaga will most likely play a cameo in the show. The project is currently being shot in Ireland. And Barbie star Margot Robbie revealed in an interview that she listened to the title track of 1997's Titanic for a crying scene in her film A Wolf of Wall Street. She admitted that the song made her emotional and hence she could cry. And actor Glenn Powell clarifies rumors on replacing Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible franchise. In an interview, he stated that his mother will never let him do that. He said, and I quote, "It is the worst gig in town. Everybody knows that. That's a death trap." Powell's remarks were in reference to the high-octane action sequences in the film. And Netflix's Night Agent Season 2 has finally set its release date. It will premiere on the 23rd of January next year. The show, which is based on a book of the same name, is about a low-level FBI agent. His life turns upside down when he receives a phone call on a secure line. The Season 1 debuted in 2023. And Beef star Ali Wong is all set to become a director. She will be directing a comedy special for the streaming platform Hulu. It will feature comedian Frankie Quinones, who says that the project is a dream come true for him. The release date and title remain tightly under wraps. And Hollywood's Ben Foster and Laura Pepton have decided to part ways after 6 years of marriage. According to reports, they have cited irreconcilable differences as the reason for divorce. Foster reportedly filed the divorce papers in October last year, seeking equal division of assets. South Korean actor Song Jae-lim has passed away at the age of 39. The actor's body was found in his apartment by his friend in Seoul. According to the police, a note has been retrieved from the scene. He began his career in 2009. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.